Yeah, I'm big into consent, you know, because I do
For sure.
this. I do public health research.
Okay.
So, like, yeah, I mean, most of this stuff. Sometimes we interview people, and actually, I was in an argument the other day with some guy. He was like, I was like, oh, have you signed the consent form? He's like, no. He's he's like, oh, Josh is like a lawyer. I'm like, no, I'm not a lawyer. Do not call me a lawyer.
Do not put me in with the scum.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't say that, but
No,
I
no, no. I
I
said
do
that.
believe I do I do believe that.
It's a popularly held belief. I think a lot of people believe that, to be honest.
You got any good lawyer jokes?
No, I don't. I'm not particularly jokey joke, like set up punch and that type of thing. I'm more story, misdirection, kind of life thing. That's my vibe. Don't get me wrong, I really do appreciate the setup punch. Like, especially there's some really cool guys at the moment in New York who do it so well. Like Mark Norman, for example. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I love him. I really
Oh,
love him. He's a
fantastic.
master.
Yeah, and Sam Morril as well, and then there's Joe List. There's like kind of like this New York community have got they're very kind of set up punch, and they're so polished, and they're so kind of like it's admirable because they're just joke writing fiends. But I'm like more experienced. This funny thing happened to me. Let me try and relay it to the audience. That's kind of my vibe. But I appreciate all comedy at the end of the day, as long as it's funny.
Yeah. Well, you know the nice thing about this Zoom setup,
Yeah,
if this is like long form conversation,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
can I share my screen?
Yeah, of course. Go for it.
Can you make me a co-host?
Sure, I will do. Multiple tab. There you go.
So,
Oh wait, okay, no, wait. So co-host, advanced sharing options. Um,
oh no, on next to if you hit participants,
oh, there it is. More.
yeah. Oh,
Um, make make host. I'm just gonna change the host. It's fine. It still
okay, we
records.
can go. We'll go back and forth.
Okay.
So, if we want to talk about our favorite comedians,
Yes.
um, I mean, you mentioned New York. Tree. You got that? If you got the sniffles too, because I do.
Well, it's like the sniffles. It's actually funny enough. It's something called. It's snuff. It's called hape. It's an ancient Amazonian tobacco snuff. And I was at a friend's house
Oh,
today and I
nice.
had some hape. So it's kind of like a meditative thing. It's very grounding. They say it's grounding, but it actually burns like you've ripped a fist full of nostril hairs out of your nose and your eyes just well up into tears. But it's a kind of like a Amazonian medicine thing that's supposed to ground you and allow you to bring you back down to stop anxiety and stop thinking. Actually, him. He was on the Zoom call with us recently. When we did when at the Sober Curious, his name Mark. He was on the Zoom
Oh,
call.
cool, cool.
Yeah, he's a
So
mate
he's
of
like
mine. So
a. Is he like a traditional healer?
he's not necessarily a traditional healer, but he is very into the whole that vibe, and myself included as well.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
So
went.
you're talking about
I went
your
to.
favorite comedians?
Yes. But I mean, we can come back there. But
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
I'll just go. I'll go ahead and do it. Okay. So you can
Okay,
see
yeah,
my
yeah,
screen
Karen.
now. So this is
Uh,
Rachel Sennott.
okay,
Rachel
yeah,
Sennott.
yeah.
And if you can see, she does. Okay, here it goes. Ready?
Can you hear it your side? Because it's not coming through on mine.
Not here. I can change that.
Okay.
Share computer sound. This should make it better.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, the double date is going to be great. And if not, it's not our fault. Because I have no flaws, and neither do you. And that's what feminism is. Damn, that was beautiful. That's a good one. It's Gloria Steinem, right? I'm matching a couple quotes together. You know, the double date is going to be great.
Okay, and
Okay.
that's so when you talked about like, yeah, your type of comedy, like
Yeah.
you know, I'm not sure where those women are from, but they're in New York City. I think, like, as an American living in South Africa, like, it's
Hmm.
funny to look back in the States and see, like, yeah, Mark Norman, Joe List, and Sam. I say these people as if I know them.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but I've seen all their stuff. Like, they are definitely part of a category. I
Yes.
don't know. And those women are part of the. I feel like they're part of the alt comedy scene. If you know what, I don't know what that is, but that's what people.
Right.
Those are. So I don't know what's the name of Sam and Mark Norman's type.
Yeah, that's a good. Well, I mean, I don't like the word edgy, but they definitely are. They do skirt the line of what's okay and what's not, and I think they also
Yes.
are very. They're not particularly scared of the more touchy kind of topics that I think that was popularized a lot by the male comedians in specifically in New York, like Louis C.K. The East Coast comics like Bill Burr, Louis C.K.,
Mm.
Robert Kelly, Patrice O'Neill. You know, they like to shock their audiences, but they are
Yeah.
but it's what I appreciate is the wordsmithery, if that's even a word,
Yeah.
of their
It
comedy
is. I think.
allows people to laugh at things that they would normally think heinous,
Yeah.
horrible,
Yeah.
obtuse, out of character, and they're getting the
Yeah.
audience to think about things in a different way. And it's like, what I love about it is, it's the type of comedy that makes you laugh at really difficult situations, which brings light to it and brings air to it and allows you like, okay, we can laugh about these things. Yes, there are horrible things going on in the world, but it's okay to laugh as well because it's cathartic. It makes people feel good. It's therapeutic. So their category is very kind of club comic edgy style, but I wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could put them in that category because they will do a joke about traffic, which has been segued into a joke, which segues into a joke about jerking off or sex. You know what I mean? So it's like I think they're a master of a lot of things. But if I were to
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
edgy, I don't particularly like that word, but maybe in the edgy category, if I were to say that.
Mm. So, did you see Gilly Apter's post the other day?
I did. I thought it was hilarious about podcasting.
Yeah.
That made me laugh out loud. It even hit haha. I like that a lot because it was such a clever joke. It was so clever. It was so well
Let's
written.
look at let, let's
Yeah,
let's
put it up.
let's look that up real
Yeah,
quick.
well, let's put it up because I can't
And what
remember exactly word for word what you said.
yeah, and I think you said Louis C.K. and
Yes,
so, and I also saw you make the Chris D'Elia.
reference as well.
What's that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
D'Elia.
Which
Yeah,
I thought, yeah, I wanna go there, and I want to get that out of the way. I want to go on record. Um, I'll be honest, not seeing some of you for 3 months has been an absolute delight. That's awesome. Oh, it was on her personal page.
yeah, I was. I'm trying to look for it now as well as we're talking.
So Gilly says, "Don't follow my first personal page. Follow my." Um,
If I look at my activity log, I might
Here
be
it
able
is.
to find it. Okay,
I got it. I got
because
it.
I know
I
I
got it.
liked it.
So she's my top favorite South African comedian.
She's
I have
fantastic. Yeah,
I've got so many male comedians keep outing themselves as sex offenders on podcasts. So guys, you should probably all stop making podcasts.
yeah,
Just a precaution. Now, just a precaution. So
that's funny. It's not. It's like but it's funny because it's like I think it's hilarious. I mean, okay, one because I'm like a podcaster and I'm a male comedian and I am in like okay this vein of like I do categorize myself in that AG kind of like skirting the thing, and but like it's just a brilliantly written joke. It's so clever because she's talking about
is
like
it a
how
joke though?
yeah well it's not
I
all
think
you
she's
can't
being serious.
well
It's both.
it's like
It's both.
yeah okay no yeah I'm sorry you carry on and then I'll.
No. Uh, um. Yeah. I mean, maybe we should have saved this for later once we warm up.
No, let's dive
Yeah.
straight
I mean,
back into it. Fine.
I think it's 50% joke and 50% social commentary.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe I shouldn't speak for her. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was funny. I thought it was true. The best jokes have like a learning, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's definitely some truth to it because there are a
mm,
lot of male comedians who have outed themselves, funnily enough, on podcasts. So there's an element of truth in it. And the fact that she says that, the fact that she mentioned it, brought it to light, and put it in is like, hey, and then also just like tongue in cheek mocked how everyone wants to do a podcast these days. There's so many podcasts out there. So she's kind of saying, okay, one, stop being misogynist and stop being predatory. And two, stop putting out so many damn podcasts. No one really cares about your podcast anyway. It's a brilliantly, I mean, yeah, it's definitely social commentary, and it's like right on the nose because it's exactly what's happening in podcast land at the moment. And I thought it was brilliant. I can't fault her for it. It was fantastic.
So I'm agreeing with you, and I think, yeah. What do I want to say about? So
You were talking. You wanted
the thing,
to talk. You were talking about the responsibility. That's what we mentioned previously.
Well, the responsibility for well, okay. You brought up Louis C.K. So there's an American comic. My other favorite comic. They're all like. I happen to like women who are comics more. So like they're all like 20s and 30s. Well, even how old is Amy Schumer now? I mean, yeah, they're all
in their 30s.
They're not well. Then they'll be older someday. I mean, I'm now over 40. I'm 42, which is
right.
all of a sudden, I'm ancient. Like it's too late. It's too late for me now.
Well,
so.
I mean, some comics only hit in their 50s. You know what I mean? Like Bill Burr only became popular in his 40s. Like, you just got to keep doing the thing. And I feel like comedy is, one, a meritocracy, and two, we accept everyone. Just be funny.
Yeah, and don't be a sex offender.
Wow. I mean,
meritocracy. That's another thing. Also, yeah.
Yeah, we can get into that as well.
Go ahead.
Just be funny. I think they're actually not only rules for comedy in my mind, they're rules for people that I will interact with and be friends with and allow into my circle. Be funny.
Yeah.
Don't be a sex offender. I think I think that goes without saying with everyone I know. It's like, well, just don't be a sex offender anyway, in any form, in any way in society. And the thing is, that's the whole thing of like, oh, these guys are being outed as sex offenders. Yeah, they're being outed as sex offenders because they are predatory in some way. And it's like they're getting in trouble for it, but the truth is coming out. I mean, it always comes out eventually. Look, with the whole Crystalia thing, he's rebutted and whatever. But the thing is, like, because he put out emails.
He denied, right?
He denied doing anything illegal specifically. So it was obviously very neatly and well penned by his lawyers to say that haven't done anything illegal. He didn't sleep with or send any pictures, and also he has instances of where they would tell him the age that they were underage, and he'd be like, I'm out, too young. But the girls, when they were posting it on Twitter, didn't put that in. So there were instances where he was a good guy. Did he freaking sleep with these girls? Did he not? It doesn't look good for him. It doesn't look good. It's not a good look. From what I've seen, it looks like he is he's closer to the character from You than we'd like to have believed previously. So
I never saw that show, and I only saw his Netflix thing like at the beginning of lockdown. I'm sure you've watched a few Netflix comedy.
Sure.
The best Netflix comedy I saw over lockdown was Taylor Tomlinson. If you haven't seen that one.
She's dating Sam Morril, actually. Funny enough.
I mean, and that's power couple, how many other I've tried to date famous female comedians. It hasn't worked out yet. That's another story.
Fair enough.
So tell me, so one of these American comedians, like, I kind of follow, like, I get into shit on Twitter because, like, I get into people's business. I got two stories about that.
Yeah.
and it's got to do with my shame. And I'm not doing any like prepared bits today, but like I've got
Yeah.
you talked about stories. Like I got a story on shame I'm working on.
Okay.
And so like the sex offenders, these guys, what drove them is shame. We could talk, I got so much to talk about. Okay, but it's a simple story. So I said to this person who was like trashing Louis C.K., and I'm like, yes, Louis C.K. should be trashed for his behavior. Oh, I downloaded his podcast, his thing,
Yeah.
which I thought was I'm not sure if I should be saying that.
Mm.
I illegally downloaded. Did you watch it?
I watched. No, I haven't. What his new special?
His new one, yeah.
No, well, like I just I did do. I put it out that it was available though. I did.
Yeah.
I actually said on thing like, look who's putting out a special. This is going to be interesting. So, but I haven't actually watched it.
Are you testing the political correctness water? Like,
no, I'm not worried about political correctness on Facebook at all.
I am.
I actually I like to incite outrage on Facebook on purpose for my own entertainment. It's a sickness. I understand it. I did it last night. I posted a plate of just yesterday. I posted a plate of
I
just
saw.
meat.
That's funny.
And then someone posted, it's like, oh, it's not a joke for the animals that are dead. And I'm like, no, animals don't have a sense of humor, especially these ones, because they're dead. And she got irritated with me, and I was like, it started this whole thing. But I was like, you are not going to win this conversation.
Yeah.
I know.
She has a sense of humor.
I know.
She has a sense of humor. I'm kidding.
I know, no, for sure.
But
but the thing is, I was like, it was literally a bit of ego. Her saying, "Oh, you're gonna mess with me. I'm gonna mess back with you. I love animals. Yeah. I'm like, I prefer to buy factory farmed meat, not factory farmed meat, etc., etc. I do my bit, but like, it's like I just like to mess with people. So I try not. I there's the PC line, and I kind of run over it. But anyway, sorry, you were saying about the whole Louis C.K. thing, and then you're the tweet about Louis C.K.
Yeah. So Louis C.K.'s new thing was coming out, and a lot of people like were boycotting it.
Yeah.
And what I said to myself was, I said, well, I'm not going to pay for it, but like I'm going to maybe, So I legally downloaded it.
Right.
And I felt even guilty about that. I mean, it was okay. I mean, the whole thing was like, it was interesting that he talked about his transgressions. He talked about, I mean, I don't even know what you call it. Do you call it assault? No, you call it,
I don't know.
It's inappropriate.
It's like assault sounds like too much and inappropriate sounds like too little, but it's like,
exactly.
But it's like, it's I think Seinfeld said as well, it's like, I just don't understand it. It's so weird. Like, I don't understand the kink. I don't understand the thing about it. Like there were some women he did it to that he did ask and they were okay with it. Maybe it was an abuse of power because they felt like he could give them the spot, like a part on Louis or his show. It's like, whatever. It's like, it was, and then is it like, okay, it was bad, and whatever it is what it is. It's this weird, funny, messed up category. He got me too'd, but it's also like, my opinion is, I was like, okay, cool. It's like a guy who's in jail for dealing weed in America at the moment. Let him out of jail. There's no point of being there anymore. How long do you keep Louis C.K. in comedy jail for? When is he allowed redemption? When's he allowed to come back?
So, I mean, like, okay, I'll try to answer that question.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, he's let himself out.
Yeah.
Because he filmed, I don't know when he filmed this thing. It was presumably sometime this year, Jan, Feb, March.
Yeah,
I think it may have been overseas. It may have been overseas.
Right.
So like, I think, because of the nature of the offense, he can do it wherever he can get people to come see him. Like, I don't think the punishment is a life sentence in the sense that, like, he's missed that chance of being the top of his field.
Yeah.
Like, but he can, I mean, it's not up to me to decide.
Exactly, but that's all.
But
Who does? Who does? Is it like is it the majority? Is it the SJWs? Is it like whoever says? It's like I feel like not everyone has to like him, but the guy still needs to be able to make a living and do comedy. I feel like you don't have to like the fact that he's doing it. You don't have to like the fact that what he's done. What he did was wrong, and we've all established that. That's true. But does that mean, as a result, he should never be allowed to have a life or be able to perform or to be able to raise money for his children ever again? I think that's a little bit too harsh. But that's what people seem to want.
So, just full disclosure, like I am a I am a social justice warrior.
Fine.
I don't know when my card is coming in.
because
But
social justice warriors will turn on each other and quickly. JB Kilstein had that problem.
who's okay? I'm gonna write that down. Jamie Kilstein.
Do some research. Oh, it's very interesting. Very interesting. He was a comic,
So,
very funny. Sorry, you carry on. Sorry, I'll keep interrupting you. You were saying.
No. I mean,
I'm
this
interested.
yeah. I mean, I got a lot of. I want to talk about a lot. So
Whatever.
I don't want to spend too much time on Louis C.K. But so I sent a message to this American comedian. I was like, because I was like, Louis C.K. isn't as bad as Harvey Weinstein.
True.
Right? That's
True.
what I said.
True.
And so that's true for you, but for her, it wasn't. And I was like, I was like, let's do a Zoom discussion and we'll talk about how, talk about the issue. And like, yeah. And so she didn't want to. And this was an example of like social media is a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
But when you try to talk to someone about it, I think they treat you even less because social media is such a mess. This other guy on my Facebook feed, I will not name him,
Sure.
and I do consider him still a friend, even though I almost didn't because of what he said. He was arguing against transgender rights, and I'm like, and I just immediately went on. I jumped in and I shat on him. I didn't shit on him. I was trying to be constructive and be like, what are you after here? The thing is, so then I sent him a message because he wasn't responding to any of my clever comments about how he was wrong. And so I gave him a call. I was like, you want to discuss this? And he's like, yeah. And I still think I disagree with him, but he had the context was much better when you talk about it.
True.
A Facebook post is a fucking disaster.
It is.
Whereas when we talk, I think he was kind of, I mean, he's a little more old school than I am. He was kind of wrapped up in the language issue. And I'm not going to judge him any further or go into any more detail, but just to say, like, it was way cooler when we talked about it.
Sure.
So.
I agree, man. I think it's the unwillingness of people to talk about it is the problem. There's no the thing is, I mean, it's like I am friends with people who are I have a friend, husband and wife who are Hasidic Jews.
Okay.
And I am an atheist, and through and through, and it's like, but we get along like a house on fire. I love them to pieces. We are very, very good friends. And I have other friends who are Muslim and Hindu and, Jewish and Catholic and atheists and agnostics and, all creeds, colors, sexes, freaking anything. And I'm like, we are going to disagree on a lot of things. There's a lot of things, culturally, religious, values, views, anything. But we can still have conversations and we can still have a discourse and a discussion about, like, for example, like Judaism. I can be like, I don't understand it, but I'm interested in what they have to say because this is a different point of view. And it doesn't mean that I think people are so worried that someone is going to change their mind. They're so worried about being wrong that they're not open to the possibility of being wrong. And then that's why they don't want, that's why I'm guessing she didn't want to discuss it with you because you were like, she didn't want to see your point. She wanted to carry on thinking that Louis C.K. was as bad as Harvey Weinstein.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, but we'll never know.
Well, someday I might. Yeah, but nail on the head, and I'm with you. Have you heard the term? Ever heard the term virtue signaling? You sound like you were virtue signaling a little bit.
Oh, 100%. But I understand virtue signaling. I know. Well, I know. I've heard it.
It's okay, right?
I've heard it, but I
So
don't know what it is. I don't know what it
so
means.
it's what the so in the U.S. we've got these alt-right guys, and
Yeah.
alt-right guys they're not comedians. Some of them are involuntarily celibate. Some of them are the
Oh, the incels.
yeah.
Hmm.
So these aren't real people. These people just I think they just mostly just have like an online persona.
Yeah. They're trolls,
And
essentially.
yeah, I guess I'm a little bit of a troll too, but like I feel like I'm a troll like with like a conscience and like I have like good intentions, like the noble trickster.
Right. Yes. But that's good
And
for
like
comedy.
that's what Mark Norman I think is also like, because he's with his comedy. Listen, he really skirts the line sometimes.
I
I
love
mean,
it.
like he's a cool comedian because like I don't know how many followers he has, but he responded to my tweet once, and
Oh,
like
did he?
when I don't know, maybe I'm super clever or it was a slow day or like I think he's a nice guy. I
Yeah,
like
sure.
it when famous people I like it when famous people interact. Some of them do,
Yeah.
some of them are too busy.
Yeah.
Nina Hasty sometimes likes my responses. And
Yeah.
Rob Van Furen is very friendly.
Yeah.
Talking, we
Are
could
you
talk
quite
about
active on Twitter? I'm guessing then. It is the home of the
Twitter's
social justice
my.
warrior.
Is it?
I don't know.
No,
I'm just messing. But it's just
maybe.
like there are a lot on Twitter. People virtue signal on Twitter more than they do anywhere else, I feel.
So like, I have a very like my Twitter experience is very safe
Okay.
because you can really like you can block and like not follow people who cause shit. Like I stopped following Helen Zilla because like
Ugh,
it was just her shit is so
it's
her
ridiculous.
comedy is her comedy is terrible.
Yeah.
So and I was like and that guy Deep Fried Man like used to get in fights with her,
Mm-mm.
and I was like, no guys, it's so boring.
Yeah.
So but I'm virtue signaling here. So virtue signaling
Yeah.
means
What is
like
virtue
it's
signaling?
it's when you say so, it's what you were saying. It's like, oh, I've got diverse group of friends.
Look at
So
me.
like
Look how awesome I am
virtue,
because I've got a diverse group of
yeah.
friends.
Well, I mean that's just one example, and
I,
like,
I'm
but the only
amazing.
thing
I'm
is
not racist. I've got a black friend.
virtue signaling isn't necessarily like bad. It's
Yeah, for sure.
like I like to support transgender rights in the LGBT community.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
okay. And like to some, depending on the context, someone's going to be like, oh, you're virtue signaling. And then if someone else was, I don't know if you put your, I don't know if you put your Instagram, are you on Instagram?
I am, yeah.
I don't know if you put a black picture on your Instagram for Black Lives Matter. I didn't,
I didn't
but
either. I just stayed
I
off.
put the Americana guy on.
Okay.
He's my in the green, the guy, I guess he was in one of the photos before the shooting, and he was one of the guys who was shot.
Okay.
I really need to find out his name, but like for me, like it's a big symbol of like how it's relevant for South Africa,
Right.
because that shit was fucked up.
Yeah.
So I'm virtue
No.
signaling by doing that, but like to me, it's maybe it's self-serving, or maybe it's supporting.
It is. It's like I like these subjects. Obviously, I don't like what's going on in the world. Yes, okay. I mean, what's going on in America right now is so insane. It's like it feels like it's imploding a little bit, and it's like it scares me that like this bastion of how we are supposed to live our lives and these things that we've looked up to, idealized for so long. It feels like their world is imploding on them, and it's like the political system and everything. It's like a soap opera. It's hard to watch or even believe. And I feel for everyone who's going through these things, but I just feel like, yeah, that's awesome. I feel like anyone who I feel that like anyone who doesn't feel the plight of them, so maybe this is virtue signaling, but like I feel like I don't think it is virtue signaling, because I feel like anyone who doesn't understand the plight of people and what's been going on and how difficult and freaking and why people are acting the way they are and why it's got so hectic. It's like when, this is a very timid example of it, but it's like someone keeps poking you and poking you and poking you and asking you to do something, and you trying to set this boundary of like, no, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. I can't do that today. I have to look after my kid. No. And eventually you're going to be like, no, fuck off. Leave me alone. You're going to get angry. There's going to be an explosion. There's going to be something that happens. And for people to understand that, like, oh, well, why is this even happening? Or this is wrong, or people are doing this, and like, why are they acting like this? Is like, that people have tried peaceful protest. I'm virtue signaling right now, but like people have tried peaceful protest, but like
Yes.
obviously things aren't fucking working. But it's just like, but also, can they not just, I don't know. I don't know how to solve these problems. So I'm not saying like that it's right and people should riot and they should loot and all of these things, and the way that it's been done is right and people should not be hurt. And I understand the things, but like, I also don't know what else they should do. And also I have to say is like, I also have no fucking idea what it's like to be a black person. No idea. In South Africa, in America, anywhere in the world, I have no idea what it's like on a daily basis. So how can I tell them what they're supposed to do or how it's supposed to be? I have no, like, I don't know. I don't know. So I'm like, okay, fuck.
So you hit on a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
So can I tell you about like my other hobbies?
Sure.
So my other hobbies, I do this thing called the Mankind Project.
I do know the Mankind Project, actually. I know people who've been in it.
Do you?
Yeah. Do you know Phil Key?
I don't. I know his name, and we've talked, but I don't know him well. I know he's in the project.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I've heard. My friend also. He's also the Hasidic guy's name's a friend of mine. He's also in it as well. So that's really interesting. I'm very aware of the Mankind Project. But yeah, carry on.
Cool. No, I mean, so the issues you're talking about, like white men not knowing what it's like to be a black person in South Africa, in the world, in America. So like those conversations never become easy, but they get easier. And I talk about that with that group of men. Sometimes in a mixed circle, sometimes just men, sometimes just white men, and then they have a black man circle, which is also kind of cool. Yeah. And I remember when I first came, I was like, oh, can I come to the black men circle? And the guy was like, no, man, can't come. And the point there was like, that was another form of my privilege, virtue signaling. That I thought I could go because like I'm like a woke American and be like, I've done my work, so to speak, and examined my privilege. It was like so because of that, I thought I could go, but I was so wrong, and that was stupid. But yeah, come like, oh, can we? Is there anything like confidential in this discussion?
No, you can talk whatever you want.
But you can always edit it, right?
If you don't like something and you want me to remove it, tell me.
Okay, yeah. So like recovery, can we talk about recovery?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so what's your recovery story?
So
in like a sentence.
I'm still. I don't know. Oh, it's a good dollar.
And you have kids? Do you have kids too?
On the way.
Okay, nice.
On the way, yeah.
Well
soon.
Done, man.
In August. First kid in August.
Good month.
Yeah,
Good month for kids.
So yeah, it's like I'm just my recovery. I don't know. I'm an avoidant, probably. I'm an avoidant. I'm susceptible to it. I'm susceptible. So I know I know my limits. So
okay, so you're not hardcore.
I'm not in a program or part of NA or anything like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But I have suffered. It's there. It's in me. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And yourself, you've also struggled with it.
So I went to my first AA meeting in 2004.
Okay.
I did rehab in 2019.
Okay.
I
Wow.
got my joke about rehab. Yeah. And that was when I separated from my co-parent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said I finished rehab with 3 distinctions:
Yeah.
arts and crafts, crying on the floor like a 4-year-old, and then mopping the floor with my tears. Um, thanks for laughing. That's like
No.
my oldest joke.
Well, it's like
That's my oldest joke.
it's just that, like I think it's like I just also understand the, like, it's gonna sound,
Yeah.
I understand the pain, man. I just understand the pain of it
Yeah.
all. It's just like there's so
Yeah.
much stuff. It's just like all of it is just like, personally, was just pushing down the pain and getting rid of it and getting away from it and not dealing with it. And I did find a different routes. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I've done the rehab. I've done the
Okay.
I've done the therapy. I mean, my therapist has a very nice Mercedes, and I think it's because of me. I've spent a lot of money on her. She goes to holidays in Bali and all over the world. I've paid
Good
for
for
them.
them.
I've paid for them, but she was one of the biggest teachers I've had, and she was amazing. My time with her is done now because there's nothing more that she can do for me. Not because I'm a lost cause. It's just that, the relationship, it came to its fruition. And but then I also went to the route of the traditional healing medicines and ayahuasca and like that type of stuff, and that's also taught me a lot. And as a result, I'm in probably the best place I've been in a very long time. But it's the suffering, because it's all the pain that you didn't deal with when you were like younger and didn't know how to deal with when you were younger. When you're a little kid, you go through this trauma and all these hectic things, and there's no adult to tell you how to deal with it and how to be okay with it. And then as an adult, it comes out in little things, when someone kind of like nigs at you and like picks at you, and then you blow up for no reason. And then I realized where it came from, and then I slowly learned to heal it, and as a result, in a better place. Are those your 2 kids?
Those are the boys. Yeah. Sorry to
Wow.
interrupt.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So that's Cole and Jordan. They're now 2 and 6. So yeah, I'm with you,
Yeah.
and I agree with you. And when Cole was 2, I did this thing, the Mankind Project.
Okay.
And it's kind of like, it's a little bit of like sorry, my dog.
That's all right.
It's a little bit of like kind of an ayahuasca journey, except it's drug free. So
I see.
and so it's like I've never done ayahuasca, but the idea of doing something like as a ritual and doing something with awareness to try to change something, that's
Yes.
I can send you the link.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Yeah, I'm
Um,
all into that whole. I say I'm into all of that things. I'm into the self-development and the whole vibe or whatever. It's like, I think, like, now, that I'm having a kid or whatever, I'm also very very worried about legacy. I always speak about legacy quite a lot, and I want to make sure that the things that were passed down to me that weren't exactly great in my experience, I would like them not to be passed down to my children.
Oh, that's something that came up on the Sober Curious Socialites, definitely.
Right.
Alexa, she posted that the story of the 2 kids,
Yes.
their father was an alcoholic. One of them became an alcoholic, and the other one didn't. And they both said, why did you drink or not drink? Because of my father.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah.
what's that word you used?
Which one?
No, shit. It was
not meritocracy.
no,
That
it
was
was the
earlier.
no. It was the handing down. It was
legacy.
the legacy.
Yeah, legacy.
So you're talking about like intergenerational trauma, or what are you
100%,
talking about? Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Intergenerational trauma, exactly. Yeah. So legacy is probably a good thing. It's a good way to put it. But I'm worried about my legacy, and the legacy that my father gave to me was intergenerational trauma. But I don't want to pass that on to my children. But the thing is, the pure fact of the matter that I'm so worried, or I'm concerned about it, means that I am doing something about it, which you know, is it means that I care enough about it to do something about it, which is a good start.
Is your dad still with us? What's the
Yeah,
story
yeah.
there?
Well, I mean, I got to be proud of him, to be honest, because like he's a recovering alcoholic and he got sober at 70, which is like, wow.
Wow.
I'm
Holy
like,
shit.
I know at 70 years old, he got sober. And I'm like, good for you, man. Flipping good for you. You've been ingrained in this alcohol. He's pickled, man. His liver is pickled. It was from years and years and years and didn't stop at all. And then eventually there was one thing that just led him over and it turned him around, man. He's becoming, there was a lot of relationships that he has to rebuild and he has to work at, and he still struggles with the negative thinking. It's not like it's an instant fix and now he's always happy. He just needs to do the work on himself to not let the negativity get to him. But he's a lot more pleasant to be around, and the nice thing is, as a result, the family and everyone is allowing him back into their lives more and more, and he's more involved and more, etc. So he's putting the work in. So you can't do that. And there's always forgiveness. I mean, it's like at the end of the day, he's my dad. What am I going to do?
Has he ever come on the podcast?
No, that's something that's still that conversation is big, and it's a great idea. I don't know if you watched Midnight Gospel. If you've seen Midnight Gospel.
Writing it down? No.
It's a fantastic it's a
movie?
fantastic series. It's a series on Netflix by one of my favorite comedians his name's Duncan Trussell, and he's very into the whole kind of counterculture, psychedelic movements and that type of stuff. And he actually talks to his mom a few weeks before she passed away from cancer and how that all happened. It's a heavy conversation, but it's so amazing. It's and that made me think of me and my dad and having that conversation with him. But the conversation would have to start off the podcast first. We're slowly getting into it now. It's just like I'm looking possibly for forgiveness or an apology, maybe where the one might not be forthcoming. And I've only recently come to the terms with the fact that I might not actually get one, and I have to just forgive him. That's my next step. But that's a great idea. I think I'll do that. I think I'll have it one.
You know what they say about forgiveness?
It's not for the other person, it's for you.
That's probably also true.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is the highest form of emotional maturity or something like that. Some bullshit like that.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
I'm still waiting I've done the 12 steps for AA. I'm still on my step 8, 9.
Okay.
Like when I don't know if you know the steps, it's not super important, but there's a school of thought in some AA people that, like normal people should do AA.
Yeah.
The idea of, it's, and the Mankind Project is certainly not AA inspired, but there's overlap in most efforts, even like the good parts of religion,
Yes.
which I won't speak to. There are parts which are related to, the good parts of psychotherapy and the good parts of plant medicine and the good parts of, I don't know, skydiving, taking responsibility for yourself, maybe even fishing, when I hate fishing. But the conscious living, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Is it
so?
You're talking about
go
steps.
ahead.
You're talking about the steps, yeah. So
thanks. So step 8 and 9. Step 8 is you make a list of all the people you wronged, and step 9 you make amends.
Yes.
Unless it will cause more harm.
Yes.
And so I have a sponsor, and he was pretty much like, you're not ready to make amends, because making amends and forgiveness is not about saying I'm sorry. It's about making it right.
Yes.
Amend is not to say sorry. Amend is to fix, and we talk about changed behavior. So I mean, there's people in my family, my in-laws, which I guess they're my ex-in-laws, but we're not yet divorced.
All right.
So I mean, I haven't talked to some of them for like a year and a half, and all of a sudden I'm the uncle. I don't know if you have the uncle that no one talks to. It's fucking. And I was like, I thought I would never be that uncle.
Yeah.
Maybe your dad was that. Maybe your dad was that uncle to some other people. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But it's like what
Not
do
my
you do in
business.
that? No, for sure. But like I'm thinking like from his perspective, and what do you do? Does it like I like I wish that I wouldn't have to be the one always to initiate conversation and to talk to him and to see how he is and that type of stuff. And then I wish he would kind of reach out more. But then I think he feels so guilty that he doesn't want to, and this and that. And it's like I don't. It's like I listened to there's a great podcast I think you might enjoy. It's called especially actually I'll send you the link to the one that I was listening to today. It's called The Honeydew. It's called The Honeydew with Ryan Sickler, and it's about highlighting the lowlights, and it's comedians talking about things. And he had one today with a guy called Josh Wolf, and he's 50 years old and he's already a grandfather, and he's just like spent his entire adult life being a father. And then he said the biggest thing about having children was him realizing how difficult it is to actually be a parent. And he forgave him his dad for so much of like, people are honestly just trying their best, man. They're just trying their best with the things that they've been given. And it often takes, unfortunately, like with NA and with freaking recovery, it takes a bit. Sometimes it's like, you're on the edge of that cliff and you've got your parachute and you want to jump off. You have to jump off because whatever's at the bottom is really important and it's what you want and it's everything that you ever needed. But sometimes someone has to kick you off, and sometimes you need that kick, and then that's rock bottom. Do you know what I mean? It's just like sometimes you need it. So it's the biggest lessons. It's hard.
So to bring us full circle a little bit.
Sure.
So does Louis? I mean, you asked the question already. Like,
yeah.
Does Louis has he asked for forgiveness? Like, I feel like he has. Maybe he hasn't.
Louis C.K.
Maybe he hasn't. Yeah.
Did?
I mean, did he do his step 8 and 9? I mean, like,
question.
and that's
question.
my thing. That's what I would put to Chris D'Elia. Also, I mean, I think that guy is not funny. I don't think he's funny. His comedy is not good.
Okay.
Like, the thing about Louis C.K. his comedy is really good.
Oh no, it's like he's one of the best of this generation.
Yeah. So like, and also like and also what he did. Like, I thought there was some consent involved
with Louis.
Yeah. I mean, there was consent. It was it was dirty and gross.
Yes.
But anyway, so it is fucking different than Harvey Weinstein, because there's Harvey Weinstein. There was no consent. Yes. There was no consent. It was assault and rape.
And a flagrant abuse of power as well, which is I think the only similarities between the two might be the abuse of power. But I don't think Louis C.K. really knew that he was like. I don't think he was doing it out of power, and he was like forcing anyone into anything, from what I've heard. So I know. I think I honestly also, because he's one of my heroes, I will give him more of a pass than I will most.
He's way funnier than Chris D'Elia.
100% agreed. But I liked Chris D'Elia. I liked Chris D'Elia because of his podcast appearances. He's hilarious in podcast appearances. I'm a big fan of. Look, a lot of people in my life really hate it about me, and it's something I'm trying to work on, but also not, because I find
what's that?
I'm extremely.
You listen to too many podcasts.
So everyone hates that about me. But no, not that. It's just that I'm quite confrontational, and I will challenge. I challenge everyone all the time because I like to get the banter going. I like the back and forth. I say something mean about you. You say something mean about me. Let's joke about it. Let's see. Let's go. And then it's like the roast. I get the roast vibe.
Oh, yeah.
And then Chris D'Elia was very good at that with other comics that I admire as well. There was always this fantastic back and forth. And there's another, social justice warriors as a whole hate this podcast I'm about to mention, but it's called The Legion of Skanks. And it's Big J Okerson, Louis J. Gomez, and Dave Smith. And they are hardcore. Ari Shafir is also on there often. He's the one who did the Kobe tweet. So these guys are hardcore guys. And they also just rip each other off all the time. They're always mocking each other. But the topics that they get into are very hectic, maybe sometimes a bit too much. But I just feel like maybe there's a place for that comedy in some instances. Like Louis C.K., there was a place for his comedy. Sorry, we were talking about Chris D'Elia and Louis C.K. I went on a rant.
No, it's I'm hearing you. So like, but Chris, how do you say the surname again?
D'Elia.
I want to say it wrong anyway.
Yeah.
That's like a power move, like calling someone by the wrong name.
Yeah. I'm sure he probably used it on the girls actually.
See, that's the thing. He's like, and some of his stuff, like I saw him do like sketches, and he was playing the bully, and I'm like, this guy plays the bully too well.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got a big thing about bullies. I don't like bullies.
Me too.
I do like roasts, and I have been challenging Robbie Collins to a roast for about 2 years now, and I will face him in a roast.
You like to punch above your weight because Robbie is phenomenal.
I saw him last night on I guess I don't know, Rob Van Buren's. People are making efforts to like formalize his online comedy thing, and I do like to punch above my weight. But he's also like, I went to Kitchener's on his night, and he was really really nice,
Yeah, I know.
And that guy's a big fucking deal, and he was very nice.
No, he's he's nice. He's a good guy, very good guy.
Most of the comics are very 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 nice to myself, a baby in the game.
Oh yeah.
But Chris, I don't think he was. What I wanted to say, do these guys need to do a step 8, 9? They make a list of who they wronged and make amends. And making amends is not saying I'm sorry. Making amends is saying you got to go. You got to go to the toilet.
No. Well, yeah. I don't know. Sorry, just give me 1 second.
Everybody.
Sorry about that.
They go to the second recording studio, the other room. Hey, where do you guys stay?
Hey?
Where do you guys stay?
So 1 second. Okay, sorry. I had Tool playing in the background by mistake.
Oh, nice.
We're in Northcliffe. I'm in Northcliffe.
Okay.
Yeah, and what area are you in?
Blackgowrie, right nearby.
Oh, okay, cool, awesome. Blackgowrie is a nice area. I really like it actually.
Yeah.
That's lekker. So what is the outcome of the challenge to Robbie? Has he accepted it, or has he just been like?
Oh, he has. I mean, I just now I just gotta like be ready, because I just feel like it's gonna be like when it's kind of like I'll be like Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
He'll be like
Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Floyd Mayweather. If I'm lucky, I'll go 10 rounds.
Yeah. That could be cool. So what was the thing that they did last night? And I saw someone who I think I saw he had posted it. And so was it like a Zoom thing, or was it like a live, or what was it?
It was a Zoom. It was a webinar Zoom, and I guess it was free. Either it was free, or like they're gonna do it paid later. And I guess it's supposed to be National Arts Festival. Have you ever? I'm sure you've been down there, or
I have. Yeah, when I was younger, actually, I went. But yeah, so that's kind of like it's like our Edinburgh Fringe, I guess, where comics go to like tour their things or whatever. And I've known a few people who've done it. Like, I know Gavin was going to do it this year because he was like, I don't know if he's getting to do a one man and whatever, and he was getting ready for it.
Nice.
But then everything just kind of happened. And I've seen some of the Zoom stuff, but I'm just not keen to do it myself.
Yeah, or even to watch. I almost like last night. It was good enough to watch because like I sit down on the couch. I'm like, oh, should I just stream some Netflix now? Yeah. You gave me some other things I could listen to, but like I started watching it, and I was like, really fucking good.
Nice.
And to know the characters and to interact. They were listening. They were responding to the chats. Oh, and Chester missing Conrad Koch
Yeah,
did
yeah, yeah.
did a thing 2 weeks before on race, which I thought was really good.
Okay,
No, that was like a month ago.
okay.
But time
Yeah,
is confusing.
time is relative, or time is very confusing at the moment for sure. I don't know when we're going to be back, man. I don't know when we're going to be back. I'm thinking 2021 if we're lucky.
Back to what? Back to comedy, or like,
Yeah,
or do
yeah,
you have a do you have like a day gig? You have a day job, or?
yeah, yeah. I work in architecture, and I'm an architectural draftsman during the day. So I've been lucky.
Oh,
I've been
nice.
able to work at home.
Yeah,
Comedy is always just, it's been a vocation and been something that I like to
yeah,
do on the side. And then the podcast was
yeah.
just an extension of that. And it
What's the
actually,
name of the podcast? Go ahead.
it's called Mildly Disappointed.
Oh, nice.
It was from my parents. They were always very disappointed, and now hopefully I've grown up. They're just mildly disappointed, just a little bit. So that was the idea.
It's like my life. I'm mildly disappointed.
Helping to not mildly or overly disappoint anyone. Now, I have that people pleasing complex. Possibly part of the reason why I started stand up comedy. I think I just want people to like me.
Yeah. It's
It's like,
also South Africa is like after the Rainbow Nation of '94. Now
yeah,
things are mildly disappointing. Hopefully they don't get more
yeah,
disappointing.
yeah.
I
And yourself,
don't
have
know
you
if
got
you're.
you do a day? Have you got a day gig? Day job?
Yeah, I do. I do public health research. So like, yeah,
Yeah, you
it's
mentioned.
some of the people I work with model the COVID infection. So like getting back to arguing with people on Facebook, like I've argued with they're these guys, these panda modelers. They're like actuarial people who got into infectious disease modeling because they want to open up the economy. But the only thing is, like, they're learning as they go along. And the people I work with have been like mathematically modeling infectious disease for years. And yeah, so I argue with those guys online also. But I'm not an economist or epidemiologist. I'm a little bit of an epidemiologist, but I'm more like social science researcher.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's very interesting, especially with what's going on at the moment.
Fuck yeah, man. But
Is it?
so in some ways I feel like, so I'm like, I wear my mask, of course, but like I feel like I'm not as careful as I could be, and I feel like,
Yeah,
I don't know. Do you know anyone with COVID yet?
I don't know a single person, not one, not in South Africa.
So yeah, I know. I don't either. But
Yeah,
we're gonna start knowing someone real soon.
yeah,
Friends of
yeah.
friends, because it's a numbers thing, and yeah, like our peak is coming up in July or August, and yeah, it's gonna be messy. Even if the estimates aren't as bad, even if the truth isn't as bad as the estimates, it's gonna be bad. So anyway.
Yeah, it's I'm not I'm very cautious. Like I've been able to work from home, even though my industry has opened up again. I still am working from home. I haven't been going
Yeah.
out. I do observe social distance. I do wear a mask. I have seen and visited friends. I couldn't like help giving them a hug, say what's up, handshake. Like I
Oh
wasn't doing the
yeah.
whole elbow thing. I'm like, I couldn't not do
Yeah.
that. And I'm like,
I
so
had to go for the hug. You had to. I
man,
mean,
I missed them.
I'm with that.
Yeah. So it's
I'm
like,
with that.
I don't think I'm in the bracket that's in trouble. I mean, I'm in my 30s. I'm relatively healthy. I think I'm okay. It's like when I see my dad, I worry though. He's in his 80s. He drank and smoked all of his life. So I'm like, well, he's more in
Yeah.
trouble than me. So
Oh, okay. He's 10 years sober already. I thought he was only like 70 what? Okay,
no.
good for him, man.
So he said he's 5 years
Oh,
sober. He's 5 years sober.
that's fucking great.
It
That's
is
great.
it's amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm only like a year and a half, but feels like because I've been like, I had a couple sober years during all this. I feel like anyway, one day at a time, blah blah blah.
Yeah. But I'm sure the COVID thing helps with
It
not
helped
drinking.
me, but it fucked up a lot of people. Yeah,
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I know a guy who checked himself back into rehab because like he was alone, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah, sure. But
I'm
then
not sure if
what's
he
it been?
has.
What's it been with you and
It's
like
not,
with you and the kids and that? Have they been coming over and are you seeing you? You doing the whole
oh,
co-parenting thing? How's that worked?
terribly. They are with they're actually coming back next week. I haven't seen them for 3 months.
What?
So they are coming back next week. So my dad was supposed to come to the country. He was doing like a world tour.
Okay.
Talk about white privilege. He's traveling with his new girlfriend. So my mom passed away 2 years ago. It used
Okay.
to be Jerry and Mary. That was my mom's name. And then he got a new girlfriend, Terry. So now it's Jerry and Terry, which is pretty funny.
It is, yeah.
And so they're both these women are nurses in my dad's life, and they were very good about staying safe. So they were traveling, like they were in Japan in February,
What?
which like and Singapore also like in March, and all these countries, they did a pretty, the Asian countries have experience with infectious disease, like this type of influenza stuff. So like, I mean, I think they've done a great job, those countries, because they're like better equipped, and also generally like they're more, let me not say anything racist. They
Mm,
follow the rules better. I mean, certainly than America. Like America's like, we are
yeah.
free, no masks, and they're fucking everything up.
Yeah.
So was that racist? Anyway, it's fine.
But it's
Forgive
like
me.
it's also like it's I think it's I don't know like
Cultural.
cultural, but it's just like you're stating a fact. Do you know what I mean? You're stating
So
a fact,
I
so it's
guess,
just like it's like what Chris Rock says: speak about what they do, not who they are or the color of their
yeah,
skin. It's just like
yeah,
people do
yeah.
this, like like white people have a tendency to do this. You know what I mean? Like I've got a bit about like which is even more true now, but it was like about Karens and how they complain and they shout and scream and all that stuff. And I called them Karens, and I was just like, and it's like white women are the best complainers ever, and I was go on about it, and I'd make a big hoo ha. But it's like it's not all, but it's like it's a stereotype. And stereotypes are funny because they're so often true. Because you say it, and then the audience is like, "That's right. I saw a woman at Woolworths the other day. She was shouting at the cashier because they didn't have water and this and that, and she was like having this massive thing." And then it's like, it's like stereotypes are funny because they're true and it's relatable. I think that's also like going like back to like what we touched on a little bit, like maybe what you can and can't joke about is like. I think you can joke about anything. Louis C.K. Like showed us this because he managed to say Mark Norman does the same thing. Joe List does the same thing. They're able to joke about the most hectic topics, but they like tap dance over these laser beams, and they wordsmith and they make it work, and they bring light to like dark situations where you're like, okay, we don't have to be so serious. Everyone is so serious, like that, especially now, the world is such a serious place. And I think like, I don't want to sound grandiose, but comedy is important. A laugh is important. It's
Hell
good.
yeah.
It's good. It is medicine.
Um, So just this quick one. So
Yeah.
so they traveled around the world, and
Oh
they
yeah,
were
sorry.
supposed to come to South Africa. They're supposed to fly in on the 24th of March,
Yeah.
and like we shut down the country on the 27th. So like they could have come in,
Shit.
but then they would have been trapped. So we were going to go to a little. We have friends who stay in Waterfall Bulvin climbing place. If you ever climb, you probably climb well. You're tall. You got the right build for climbing. Um,
I've been to Waterfall Boven actually, but
yeah.
I've never climbed. But yeah.
Oh, you check it out, man. It's never too
Yeah.
late.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so yeah, they canceled their trip, but my co-parent, my ex, went out there with the boys, and I was like, I don't want to go, and so she took her new boyfriend out there, and I was like, I don't want to go,
No
and we
shit.
didn't know how long we didn't know how that was when we didn't know how long it was going to be, and so then all of a sudden, no provincial travel, and then yeah, so
Sure.
I've been parenting remotely, which
Wow.
kind of reminds me, I should go. I should give them a call.
Cool. No problem. Whenever you're ready. Whenever you need to.
Yeah.
No, thanks, man. That's like, yeah. Well, I mean, that must be tough, man. That must be tough. At least you're doing it. At least you're doing it. At least you're doing it, man.
Showing up is 90% of life or something.
Yeah. Well, I think it's for kids at least. Just show up. They don't need all the fancy toys and
Like,
stuff. Just show up.
well, that's not what their mom said. But
Really.
with her, you can't just show up. You need to be like fucking parenting your ass off.
You need to
Like,
show. You need to show up, parent your ass off, and bring toys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, probably the toys are the least important. So in
Absolutely.
my mankind thing, we do this thing we call a checkout. And it's pretty
Yes.
much you say your name and how you're feeling.
Yeah.
So may I check out?
Of course. Go for it.
So I'm Josh. I check out with deep gratitude to Mr. Andrew Mack and mildly disappointed's podcast. I'm going to share it with all my friends. Like
Awesome. I
and
appreciate it.
subscribe. Do you
Thank you.
do you put it on Spotify or whatever? Where do you put it?
iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, all of the places where you get
Great.
podcasting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then,
Nice.
I'm Andrew Mack, and I feel relaxed and at peace, and also very grateful for coming on. I appreciate it. I appreciate you for doing this. And yeah, and also, also what do I don't know if you've got time, just quickly if you can talk about the anxiety and all that thing that you're doing with
Oh yeah.
yeah, like just mention that, because plug that, like get people, because I mean when I was very interested when we spoke about that on Sober Curious.
Cool. So let's see if I can find that. Okay. Yeah, here it is. So I mean, I can give you the links to all this stuff.
Yeah, I'll put them in the show notes. Yeah.
Nice. So the other thing, so mankindproject.co.za,
Yeah.
it's essentially like a club I'm a part of,
Okay.
and the mission there is to change the world one man at a time. And the anti-anxiety revolution is this woman. I don't think she was there that night. She's come other nights. Francesca Darling.
She was there.
She's
Yeah.
Oh, was she there that night?
She was there that night.
She's a clinical psychologist, provocateur, liberator, and her belief is that, you know, if you say you're feeling anxiety, it's like an inability to feel one of the core feelings.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, and then she also has this whole section on shame, and we all have like a certain shame bias, which if we can like embrace and flip around, we can stop living like a shamed life.
Yes.
And like maybe if a guy like Chris D'Elia or Louis C.K. like talked about their shame, wouldn't be doing the shit they'd been doing. Like had worked out their stuff, you know?
Very true.
And maybe I would have been a better fucking husband if I had worked out my shit. So that's why I do that. And that is the short story.
Awesome. Well, I'll put all the links in the show notes so people can check them both out.
Such an honor, brother. Good to see you.
Thank you, man. And yourself, man. Let's hopefully do it in person soon or whenever, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we can hug.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully talk into a microphone. Jesus, that would be amazing.
Yeah. I haven't used a microphone in what feels like years.
I miss it, man.
All right, man.
Okay, chat soon. Thanks, Josh. Peace out, brother.
Thank you.